Greetings and salutations, my fellow YouTubers. This is Sam the Thomas Fan 2 coming back to you yet again for another Tugs reaction. This week we're taking a look at episode 2, Pirates. And before we get started, I want to make a couple of shout outs to a few people in mind. And first, but before we get to that, I just want to say that for the record that this this is actually a true honor to actually do this episode, to be reacting to this episode here, considering the fact that it's actually one of my top favorite episodes of the series. Well, this episode and my second favorite episode, Jinx, which I'm gonna be excited to do that when summer comes. But this episode actually means a lot to me, not only just for sorry. This episode actually means a whole lot to me. One in particular reason, in fact, is that I actually have done a couple. Well, what I'm trying to say is I've actually been a part of a project of a friend of mine, and where her and myself have actually redubbed this episode in the past before. If you all want to check out what I'm talking about, click the link below. The first link into the Tugs redub I'm a part of. I'm perfectly referring to the pirate redub made by my friend Liz Productions 574. Shout out to you, Liz, out there. And I also have another shout out I want to actually say to before I get started with the reaction. For some people who actually been following me up on Twitter today, hang on a sec. Okay. So, for those of you who have been following me on Twitter today, I myself actually went out to Philadelphia today with a couple of students from my high school, and we actually went to see a particular play in mind. It actually refers to one of William Shakespeare's old plays that he written back then. I'm especially referring to this, Measure for Measure, by William Shakespeare. This was actually shot. Well, this was actually taking place in a particular theater here in Philadelphia called the Lantern Theater Company. And let me just say for the record that when I actually watched the when I was sorry, when I actually got there, I was actually hoping for the best of it. And let me just say that Measure for Measure really had outstanded me in so many ways, and many others. I was actually laughing my ass off by watching this whole thing, and I was still even laughing just when we got out of the theater and we're heading back to when we were heading back to the school. I especially want to give a couple of shout outs to the cast members of Measure to Measure. I especially want to actually give a shout out to Miss Claire Richards, Mr. Anthony Lawton, and Mr. Jared McLayan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but if I in any case, I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly, but still, I want to give a memorable shout outs to those three, as well as everybody else who were a part of this little play of theirs, and to those who've been wanting to follow up on and who these people are. There's also a second link to their Twitter account, which has been provided below. So be sure to check out the Lantern Theater Company's Twitter accounts and check out some of their posts. They're really awesome. And to everybody who was a part of the cast today, I just want to say thank you so much for the great performance. You guys really had owned it there. And that's all there is to say. So, without further ado, let's get started here with the second reaction of the second episode of Tugs. Let me just... And... All right. And now we are ready to begin. Let's get things started in 3, 2, 1.
The tugboat, for its size, is the most powerful craft afloat. And the Star Tugs are the power behind the docks and waterways that make up the big city port. This is Tugs.
You know, one thing that I actually have always considered for when I actually watch the first version of the Tugs intro, I'm just as curious as why they didn't include that deleted scene there, because it's the one with 10 cents I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna judge them about which scenes were added in back then or not. So.
So they could start work first thing in the morning. I knew 10 cents wasn't too happy, not because it was late, but because the Z-stacks were on the same job.
Hey up, Zip! Look what the wind's blown in. Goody 2 screws.
Ahoy, Zug. Hey, where'd you want this barge from the engineers?
Too late for today, mate.
Too late? You don't need this till morning.
We might have. No point now. I'll be dark soon.
Don't bug me. I've had a busy day. Now, where'd you want it?
Really a beaver, Zip, isn't he? Well, got a reputation to live up to, Zug. One of the best tugs in the harbour. Yawn, yawn. All work and no play makes 10 cents a dull tug.
Look, do you want this or do I take it back?
Bought it by the old key, if you're not too worn out.
You know, one thing I should also mention here is that when I voiced Zug for Liz's Rita back then, and I really had a hard time like trying to get my voice to actually sound like Zug, because it really was kind of a hard opportunity like that, if you get my drift.
Hold up, 10 cents?
Sunshine, it was you. Now, why didn't you answer?
Was me what?
In there, I called.
Can't have heard you. You heading home?
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Now, I must be tired.
Night, 10 cents. Night, sunshine.
Night, Grampus.
That night, a shadowy vessel slid into the harbour.
This looks like what I'm after. Engineering parts.
Unseen, unheard, the dark strange.
You know, the one confusing thing about when Sea Rogue actually like says his head when he has a speaking role in that part there, it's really weird how his voice is there and later on actually sound very different. You know, was that actually was that like a mistake that was that like some sort of like mistake that happened back then and or something? I can't honestly tell the difference. Well, I'll scratch that part. You know.
You didn't deliver our barge.
Of course I did.
It's not where it should be, is it? And we'll get the blame.
But I delivered it. And yeah, I delivered it by the old key. You saw me.
What's there now?
Moved it to wind me up.
You have double-crossed us.
I have not. You take that back.
Oh, no, hang on, no, I was only down there.
What's going on out there?
Captain Stas, 10 cents didn't deliver our barge last night, and...
I did.
No, I did. You did not. It's not there. It's not there. No.
All right, that's enough. I've already had a complaint from the clients. On your way now.
Right, sir. Have a nice day, 10 cents.
Oh, and another thing I should also mention that I've actually had done a remake version of this particular scene. In fact, it was actually one of the projects I did back during my my sophomore year of high school. It was basically just a way to show people what it would be like if Tugs was actually shot in real life. And it was done with myself as Captain Star, and I got some images shots from a Tugs remake that was shot in Train Simulator, which was actually kind of a bit easy to like get the shots, especially when it came to like green screening them.
The more know about it, the sooner you'll be in the clear.
I am in the clear. Get that clear.
Naughty, naughty, temper, temper. Who's his fat if it wasn't screwed on?
One of these days.
I'll leave me 10 cents. Captain Star's got another job for you.
What is it?
I don't think I'm gonna like it. Or work with the Zen.
Oh, that's all I need.
Now you do know what to do with that lot, don't you? He takes it somewhere, then it disappears. You can make a fortune selling large loads on the side.
You saying I'm a crook?
He wasn't talking about you, was we, Zen? Didn't mention his name, Zach. Strange how ordinary people can suddenly turn criminals out. It's the evil inside them suddenly comes out, Zach.
Yeah, you two know all about that, wouldn't you, Zach?
You know, I never also mentioned this, but aside from 10 Cent's O face there, I was actually kind of creeped out when I actually saw Zach's faces for the first time.
Fortunately for him, the famous Bridge Cafe band was giving Bumpus one of his restless nights.
You know, I always wondered what it would be like if the Bridge Cafe band was actually a real band. Like, I'm not sure if it actually is considered a real band and or not, but maybe not.
It's creepy round here at night. There's something moving over there. Better check it out. Avast you! Get out of here! That was too close. Hey, that looks like another of 10 Cent's parties. Where's the thief taking it?
You know, it's kind of a shame that they never actually made like moving eyes for Grampus there. Or, I mean, granted, I know they're paying it on, but they could at least just like have another model to like have him have moving eyes at least.
Next morning, I told Captain Zero, Stars and Zed Stacks had to get together on this.
I say, what's this all about? Starfleet and Zedfleet together, but what next?
We're wasting time.
Silence!
10 Cent's barge is the only one's gone.
Yeah, but he knows what it's about.
Him stealing barges, that's what. Cut that out about 10 cents.
Yeah, what'd you say?
We didn't
Just careful what you say.
I said silence. Captain Zero and me have had a meeting. Missing barges is serious. We're going to get to the bottom of it, understand? Captain Zero?
I know of a scheme to catch this planet.
I expect you know several.
I said a group to catch a group. What are you suggesting?
Quiet! We've decided to set a trap.
Certain barges are being rigged with flares that will trigger off if the barge is even touched. Never mind, stolen.
So, this is the plan. Tonight, you'll all be out in pairs, maintaining...
You know, I often wondered to myself if Captain Zero was actually known as a demolitions expert before he actually became captain of the Zed Stacks.
What about this old warehouse? Is it possible? Hasn't been used for years.
You've done very well so far, Patchy, but we figure you still know us.
You're going back on your word. You said that was the last barge.
Changed our mind, see. It's one more barge. Get it tonight or it's goodbye to him. That we dumped his lock on the seabed.
The missing barges.
What's that? Hear anything?
No.
Right. Do as we say or else.
It's getting too risky.
One more, I said. Tonight.
Don't do it.
I've got to, haven't I? You promised tonight will be the last.
Deliver or he
even though I know that Zero here is like a refuge tug, well, a rogue tug, he's actually, I really admire him how he's like trying to like, hey, do this, just that's only trying to save his uncle and all. That shows a bit of commemoration a bit sometimes.
Yes, good idea. Margin plays, flare set to go off.
Also, I never understood why Sea Rogue actually has that eye patch there. I mean, granted, yes. He's supposed to be like a pirate and all, but it would have been nice if we actually got an episode where he actually told us the backstory about how he actually got the eye patch to begin with.
It means thinking strategically.
What's that? Strategic? What you said?
Tactical, you dummy.
Tactical. Strategical.
Give me strength. Positions, warrior.
It's like teaching Derpy new words here. Like Top Hat, like Top Hat trying to teach Warrior new words. It's just like trying to teach Derpy some new words.
I know it didn't have anything to do with the missing barges. Zip and Zug are trying to make something of it, that's all.
Thanks, Sunshine.
It makes me angry, not being able to prove it. I'm sure Captain Star believes you. And don't pay any attention to the Z-stacks, that troublemakers rubbing you up the wrong way.
I don't care about them. It's our gang. They can't be sure it's not me.
Well, we'll catch the thief tonight, with any luck.
We might not. What if we do? I'll see that pirate.
Sir?
Oh, what's Grimace doing here? He'll give us away. Grimace, get out of it. You're in the way.
We're laying a trap for the thief. That's why I've come to see you. I've been trying to find you for ages.
Yeah, what do you know? Where the stolen barges are?
I've been there, seen them.
Well, let's get a pirate. He'll be sorry you crossed me, I'll tell you.
Just a minute, 10 cents. It's a bit complicated.
I want him now, to prove it's not me.
Will you listen a minute? Your pirate is a tug called Sea Rogue.
Tug?
Tied off my end. Right, Zip. I'll stay back here, out of sight. You keep a lookout up front.
Why do I have to be up front? It's scary. I feel vulnerable. You come here, I'll come there.
Oh, no. You'd be much worse off here. Better there, believe me.
Is it really bad over there?
Honestly, Zip, would I lie to you? Now would I? No, please, Mr. Pirate. I don't mean no harm.
I always wondered how they were able to make Zug here like shake, hey, when he gets scared there.
Give me your post.
I only wanted to see if it is better back there.
Well, it isn't. Stay there and shut up.
Also, damn, man. And, I mean, I know that Zug is actually not them. Is somewhat, well, it's kind of a switcher and all, but damn, man. Zug is a complete savage in this episode. I've always kept thinking that every time when I watch this episode here. He's just a damn savage.
10 cents and Sunshine are leaving their post.
What?
Look.
You're right. That 10 cents must be up to something. I knew he shouldn't be trusted. Come on. Can't see them from mist. Stay close or I'll leave you behind.
Oh, thanks, pal. Thanks very much indeed.
The villains were carefully laying plans for their escape. They were covering up lightships, putting out lights in lighthouses, and muffling bellboys so they wouldn't be seen or heard when they sailed off with their loot.
Hello, boys. How are you?
What they'd do to the old tug wasn't known. 10 cents,
It was-
Sunshine and Grampus were hiding.
I always kind of found it really freaky in this episode how that boy was actually like speaking a little bit there. I mean, I don't mind it really. It's just freaky, you know.
Oh, it's too spooky for my liking. I wish I was back up river.
Shh, be quiet. I think I hear something.
I'm not gonna make it. Nothing in sight. The tug fleet's a bumblebee. Hey, Tugs!
You're cornered. You can't escape.
I'm not trying to.
Well done,
10 cents. He's the pirate, all right.
No, I'm not a real pirate.
We know you're not, Sam. Listen told us everything.
He saw you and those two green-eyed things.
Did you see the old man there too?
Everything.
We must save him. He's my uncle. They're holding him to ransom to make me steal barges. Even if I get one more, they might still sink him.
Well, help us to help you, and we'll sink them.
Anything you say. Who's that?
Quick, let's hide.
This way.
10 cents can't be far. Must be around here somewhere, Zip.
So could that pirate, Tug. Maybe we should get back. I don't like this suck.
Quiet.
Zip and Zug, they're stupid enough to go in the warehouse.
They'll get no quarter if they do.
Ah, Sam, I'm right.
That gives me an idea.
Yeah.
Go to the warehouse entrance. If the villains leave the shed, save the old man. And let's see what's going on.
Just a quick look.
No, Zug, let's go back. Please.
Oh, for the love of God, oh, for the love of Godred, Zip, quit acting like such a wussy pussy.
There's no one there.
The stolen badges of green.
We've cracked
And 3, 2, 1.
Right, now get ready to spring the trap where I say. Unless that Gramps has got a clear path.
Oh dear. Hope everything's okay. What the? Who's the easy old man? I've come to set you free.
No, in retrospect, it would have been nice if they actually had a bit more
Don't move yet.
suspenseful music for her when Sea Rogue 10 Cents and Sunshine like nab the rogue pirates here. So
3, 2, 1.
like take for example, if any of you guys watched Liz's read-up of Pirates, she actually used some music from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. If they actually had come up with the usage of something like some of the music from Pirates of the Caribbean to be fitted into this episode here, this would actually be a bit more dramatic and a bit more action-like. But I'm not saying that the music feature is bad and all. It's just a wide suggestion.
Slightly singed top-hatted warrior led the villains away.
Don't bump them too hard, warrior. They might send up a flare too. Oh, now that's what I call a good night's work. You ain't up River Sea Rogue?
Yeah, thanks, 10 cents.
That's all right. Least I could do.
Right then, we better move. Pirates are not welcome here.
Nonsense. You're no pirate.
Thank you all for your help.
Yes. Thanks for everything.
Come on, old man. Let's get you home.
Oh, help me nice.
I'm really sad to see them go. Hi, Hercules.
10 cents. Those the two you rescued last night.
Yeah, they helped us find the stolen barges.
Captain Star says you've done a great job, 10 cents.
I couldn't have done it without Grampus and Sunshine.
Well, good work, my dears.
Thanks, Hercules.
Thanks, Hercules. Well, I'm off to get some rest.
Thanks, Grampus. Zip and Zug, I want a word with them. Yeah, well, I don't know what we'd have done without your help.
Well, somebody had to flush them out, so we did.
We never really thought you stole the barges.
Oh, no. Could have fooled me.
Weren't you just
And
a little bit
here comes what I consider my most favorite part of the episode, preferably the last part.
They move pretty fast when they're not scared.
They certainly do.
No matter how many times is that scene, and always is, it just never ceases to make me laugh. Well, that's pretty much all there is to you guys. And with that, this concludes the second episode of Tugs Reactions. And I hope you all enjoyed this week's reaction video. Reaction stream, I mean. And in any case, I like to say thank you all for watching again. Be sure to check out next week's stream where I will be reacting to Trapped. And with all being said, I'm Sam the Thomas Fan 2 saying goodbye for now, and I'll see you all next time. Peace!